What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Pop Culture Micca, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because y'all know when we got the Red Cup, we're about to spill some truth. And that's what's definitely in that cup today. I'm telling you, I'm on one today because what's happened last week and what's happened over the weekend, child, I'm telling you, I'm on one. All right. But happy Monday to everybody. If you had a great weekend, hopefully you're blessed, you're well. But over the weekend, a lot of things happened. And like I said last week, and it just really got me to thinking. So, like, comment, and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get the show started. So, if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. If you're not, welcome. And like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. And this part of the show is called Opening Shots. Okay. And the reason why I call it Opening Shots, boom, all right, is because it's my little thought before we get into the main topics, okay? And the meat and potatoes. So, I wanted to open this with a shot called The Real Threat to Democracy. You keep hearing it. Threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy. First of all, this is a republic, okay? But I'll go into detail with that in another video. But this is a republic. Just wanted to put that out there. But you keep hearing a threat to democracy, a threat to democracy. And you hear it because the media that is mostly liberal, okay? Because let's be clear, they all have biases. But most of the media in the United States is liberal, okay? So most of it is one-sided. And that's just a fact, okay? So y'all can argue that with yourselves. But like I told you, I'm on one today. But the real threat to democracy is the people that say they're standing up for democracy, okay? The liberal media, or the media in general at this point, because it's mostly liberal, the media has decided what and who they were going to back. And not it just being a bias, but they are going to back them by any means necessary. And I do mean any means necessary, whether it's to lie, whether it's to cheat, whether it's to use it in propaganda. Okay. And if you don't know what the Smith-Mundt Act is, you need to look that up because the United States is allowed to use propaganda on its own people through the media. Okay. Smith-Mundt Act 2012. Okay. Um, but you see it, okay? You see it through the media using taking clips and actually making up stories. And I mean making up stuff to where they're using other people's voices and compiling them together and just making up something. All right. To the point of that they're okay with telling the American people anything to rile them up. They like talking about incitement. That's exactly what they're doing. They're inciting the American people to not even think about their own interests, to think of something as you're going to die if this happens, or it's going to be such a threat. Your children won't be able to play, live, do anything. And it's crazy. You would think, I go out the country a lot. You would think you were watching something in China or Russia. The way the media talks nowadays. And we, the American people, just allow it. We never push back on it. And it's crazy because you literally have a device, right? You have a whole device that can tell you where you can deep dive. Like all of this stuff that I put on here is stuff that you can go find yourself. I tell people this all the time. Don't sit here and argue with me. Go and look it up. You can find this stuff yourself. I just take the time to do it because this is stuff I care about. I care about pop culture, which is the reason why my name is Pop Culture Micca. I talk about everything in pop culture. Pop culture affects Americans, period. Okay? Whether it's music, politics, anything. It's all popular culture because it's popular in our culture. All right? So I wanted to get into a little video here that I'm going to play that is just a piece off the presidential debate. And then we're going to get into a video that where we have Joe Rogan, calling out the media. Here we go. All right. So here we go. This is from the Trump and Kamala Harris debate.
Ask running for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized.
So what he's talking about there is a lot, okay? And we're going to come back and talk about it. But I also want to get into really quick Joe Rogan, okay? So we're going to go into that clip really quick. All right. So here's Joe Rogan. Some of you may have seen this, some of you may have not, but here's Joe Rogan.
MSNBC did this recently, but this is what MSNBC did. They took a clip of me talking about Tulsi Gabbard because she is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. They edited it up and made it look like I was saying great things about Kamala Harris. She's gonna win.
No, she's not.
She can win.
She absolutely can win.
And they put the two of those together and made it seem like I was praising Kamala Harris and saying a bunch of things that aren't even true about her. But they don't care about the truth.
Okay. So you just saw both of those clips. Okay. So here's what I want to come with my opening shots monologue with you seeing those two clips. Excuse me. You saw Donald Trump say, they keep saying, I'm a threat to democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. Even though you already lived through a Trump presidency and none of y'all left, right? None of y'all left. Most of y'all were here. Most of y'all actually did very well. But I digress. Y'all already lived through this. Okay. But he's a threat to democracy, right? Cool. Then you have them saying, well, that's not enough to do. Right? That's not enough to do. Let's go in and start a campaign of Russia, right? Which their own administration said that all of that was a lie. They come out later, of course, when they win, but all of that was a lie, right? That they concluded that under their, when they went to investigate it, that, Russia didn't interfere. Shocker. Then you have Joe Rogan talking about how they took his words from his podcast and mixed it up and decided to say that Joe Rogan, and used it for an ad, I might, which is illegal. The mainstream media is not even supposed to do that. Okay? They had to take it down because Joe Rogan was going to sue. They used his words and said that he was talking about Kamala Harris when he was talking about Tulsi Gabbard, who was a Democrat, okay? And might I add you, a very smart Democrat. But she's a woman of color. She served in the military. I mean, she did all of this stuff, okay? And he was talking about her, and they made it sound like he was talking about Kamala. Just dishonest. Just dishonest. And you're going to tell me that this is the same media that cares, that really cares, to the point that they're going to doctor up things and say, hey, look what this person, this person that so many people watch, because Joe Rogan actually has more viewership than the mainstream media put together. Okay. But this person is saying how great Kamala Harris is, and we're going to make an ad for it. Something that's illegal to do. You cannot be impartial and non-biased as an entity for the public to get information, which is freedom of the press, and put your hat in the ringer for a candidate to the point where you make an ad. This is insane. And we the people are allowing it. But then we talk about threats to democracy. Child. So that's my opening shots. Okay. And with that, today, we're going to get into a whole host of things that show what the real threat to democracy is. We're going to show that the real threat to democracy. Okay. And we're going to use, as always, with what this show is about, we take all the current events and we expound on it. We get the pouring in this cup. Like, we really sit here and say, okay, yeah, that's what the mainstream media is saying, but what's really up in there? We get that truth serum up in there, okay? We get that red cup flowing. So let's go ahead and get into our first overall threat to democracy. All right, so illegal immigration. Okay. We already know illegal immigration hurts all Americans. All right. So to allow it is definitely un-American. But I wanted to show you guys some things that are going on that the mainstream media isn't really talking about. Okay. In illegal immigration, right? They like to talk about, the main stuff that, pops up because they can't ignore it. But they don't talk about the sneaky, maybe what you might think or what they might think is the smaller things, right? They don't talk about those things, but those things are the things that make a difference. So I wanted to talk about illegal immigration and a couple little subjects under it, right? First one I wanted to bring up is Oregon. Oregon decided to be sneaky and underhanded. If you don't know anything about Oregon politics, Oregon is a very liberal state. Okay. So here we go.
Officials with the Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles just announced this weekend they have mistakenly registered more than 300 non-citizens to vote over the past 4 years.
I want you guys to hear that again, so you can get that in your head. Okay. Over the past 4 years. Let's hear that again. Let's hear it again, ma'am.
Officials with the Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles just announced this weekend they have mistakenly registered more than 300 non-citizens to vote over the past 4 years. They described the registrations as a data entry issue, with officials adding that of the 306 who were mistakenly registered, just 2 have ever voted in any type of election.
So real quick, they're non-citizens. And over the last 4 years, who's been in office the last 4 years? Biden and Harris, right? Okay. Illegal immigrants in the state of Oregon, over 306 of them. And mind you, they're not telling you what cities, because you know how the Electoral College works, okay? All right. All right. So 306 non-citizens are allowed to vote. And this is what they're admitting to. Who knows who's on those voter rolls? But this goes to show you that it's sneaky. They're doing a lot that the mainstream media doesn't even talk about. Let's continue.
News Nation's Nancy Liu joins me now with more on this story. So, Nancy, what happened here and what's the impact?
Well, Anna, state officials are emphasizing that what happened will not have an impact on the upcoming election, adding that mail ballots aren't going out for another month in Oregon. But as you might expect, the oversight has triggered widespread concern and outrage. It all came to light this week when the Oregon Transportation Department notified the DMV that 306 non-citizens had been mistakenly registered to vote since 2021. The problem stemmed from the state's automatic voter registration process, which is linked to whenever people apply for or renew their driver's license.
How do they have a driver's license when they are not citizens? How do you get one? I go down to the DMV here in Maryland, and you know what they say? You forget one paper, they're like, oh, nah, you got to come back. How does someone that's not even from this country apply when I'm from this country and I miss one documentation, they tell me, no, we have to prove that, you live here in this state. We have to prove that you are this. So you have to prove what I am, but you don't have to prove this 300 and something. How did it even get a license? It's asinine. It blows my mind every time. I'm on one.
But DMV staff failed to verify citizenship with proper documentation, or they entered information incorrectly.
I bet.
Democratic Congresswoman Andrea Salinas is blasting the agency in a statement saying, in part, this is total malpractice on the part of the DMV.
But yet they're doing it.
And is completely unacceptable. I am calling on the state to act quickly to remove these individuals from the polls, conduct a full and transparent investigation into how this occurred, and provide concrete steps they are taking to remedy this issue and prevent it from happening again. And Anna, that's just one official sounding in, and there are quite a few.
I can imagine. Has the loophole been fixed, and did any non-citizens actually vote?
Well, and according to Oregon's DMV administrator, the agency is moving swiftly to correct the issue.
Has it been fixed? Love, has it been fixed?
And the 306 people in question will be removed from voter rolls well before any ballots go out, unless they are actually U.S. citizens.
They're non-citizens. That's why they're in question. You see the game that they play. This is, man, look.
Also states that initial analysis by the Oregon Secretary of State has identified that of the people on that list, 2 have voted. Importantly, this does not mean those individuals were not U.S. citizens at the time they voted, just that they failed to provide proof of citizenship to DMV. Now, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek weighed in on the mess, publicly claiming that the loophole will not impact the 2024 election. Federal law prohibits non-citizens from voting in national and local elections. But as you would imagine, the situation is new fuel for conspiracy theorists and election critics, including.
You see where they go? You see where they go, right? Because they don't want you thinking critically, oh, it's going to be a conspiracy theory. Ma'am, this is not a conspiracy. And if I can imagine that 306 people are on those rolls, who else might be on those? Come on now. Like, they want you to think what they want you to think. This is how the media runs interference. But go ahead.
Including Elon Musk on social media, one commentator claiming that the 2024 cheat has begun. Anna?
Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right. So let's come back here. Y'all see how even though they had to give you the facts, they were like, oh, well, it's not a conspiracy. And see, they got to throw you off, because that's when you start asking all these questions. And so to keep you from asking all these questions, they throw the whole conspiracy thing out there. Let me tell you right now, 9 times out of 10 in the last 20 years, something that has been a conspiracy, when it has been a conspiracy, it has turned out to be true. Like, literally, it has turned out to be true. And a lot of you don't follow documents that are declassified, and you should. Because every 20 years they have to declassify things, and you can request certain things, okay? But most of you don't. You take these people at their word instead of looking it up because you're lazy. I mean, it just is what it is. We are a lazy nation, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in. But I digress. We're going to move on to the next problem in illegal immigration. Okay, so as we are talking about illegal immigration, let's go into another point: voter suppression. Okay. You have, again, non-citizens on these voter registration rolls. Okay. And so now that states that are not sanctuary city states and don't agree with illegal immigration, of course, because we have laws in this country, that it's voter suppression. That's what the liberal left is coming up with. It's voter suppression. And they've been talking about voter suppression with illegal immigrants or migrants, and voting suppression, again, the talking point with minorities. Mostly what they're talking about is Black people. Okay. The thing is, who doesn't know how to get an ID? They think you're stupid, right? When it comes to Black people, they think you're stupid. Oh, if they don't have an ID, they're not going to be able to vote. They shouldn't be able to vote. You don't have an ID. How do I prove this is you? Like, how do I do that? Like, come on. So you have that, right? And then you have the mail-in ballots. And if I have an address as a non-citizen, and I have an ID because you just saw what happened with the DMV, okay, I'm voting. All right. And so you have the House Judicial Committee, they're holding hearings, okay, on how the Biden and Harris administration is going about these non-citizens being able to vote. You can't make this stuff up. All right. But here we go.
I would now yield time to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Hunt.
The fundamental question that we must answer today is is America worth preserving? I, of course, think it is. I think this is the greatest country in the world. I love this country. I'm a veteran, served in combat, and I'm a United States congressman. I think this is by far the greatest country in the world. But if the United States is a country worth preserving, then I think we must protect the integrity of our elections and do everything in our power to do just that. I am shocked that the SAVE Act, which has already passed the House in a bipartisan fashion, is even controversial to many Democrats. I mean, they are the ones that constantly are shouting about preserving democracy. And safeguarding our elections is the best.
Remember, because the threat of democracy is real. So why not safeguard it? Okay.
The rock of our democracy is something that both sides should easily support and agree upon. They say that non-citizens voting in an election is not a real issue, or if some non-citizens are registered to vote, it's not a significant amount to make a difference.
Listen to that point. That if there are, this is what Democrats are saying, if there are some citizens registered to vote, non-citizens registered to vote, it's not enough to make a difference. They shouldn't be registered to vote at all. Like, I don't understand what we're not getting about this. And if there's some, there's more. Or as my mama used to say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, stop playing with us. We're not stupid. And you're mad that the people are calling it out, and the people that are elected to represent the people are calling it out. Stop playing with us.
Well, in my home state of Texas, we just removed thousands of non-citizens from voter rolls. And in some of these recently hotly contested elections, that amount could even be enough to swing an entire election, especially this year. Undermining the integrity of elections is not an oversight. It's a threat to democracy. And for all of those, this is about democracy. For all of us, this should be about democracy. I think it's time that we, as a body, acknowledge that threat. Now, Democrats on the left aren't just focused on replacing American voters. They are focused on replacing American jobs as well. Under the Biden-Harris administration, jobs in foreign-born workers are significantly increasing, while jobs for native-born workers are declining. Critics say that these illegal immigrants are needed because they will do the jobs that Americans won't do. What they fail to say is that Americans won't do the jobs when Biden inflation is outpacing their wages. And fixing the illegal immigration problem will help American workers.
Meaning pay people what they're worth, but they don't want to pay the American people. Okay? If you look at it, these corporations, they're not Republican corporations. Talking about the rich, they're all in bed with the Democrats. You know why? Because the Democrats will allow the labor for cheap. That's who they're in bed with. They're allowing the labor for cheap while overstepping the American worker. They've done it before. They did it with NAFTA. They overstepped the American worker, which is why all your tech jobs and all of that are over in India. Apple, all of that. It's in India.
I fixed a problem for you. The immigration problem is not a minimum wage issue. It hasn't always been the case, but in recent years, the left has decided to slowly erode everything that we'd hold dear as a country. They want to erode our culture, our history, our patriotism, and lastly, our vote. Do you remember during the George Floyd riots when the left wanted to reimagine policing? Now the left wants to reimagine voting so that everyone, regardless of their citizenship, can choose our next president.
So you can literally, the left wants to literally just F the Constitution. We don't have to abide by that thing, which they've already done. But you literally have a voting block. They're not slick. You let a voting block in, you give them all this stuff. Who they gonna vote for? Oh, okay.
That's not the American way. The left wants to reimagine everything that makes America special. They even want to reimagine our Constitution. One example is a recent New York Times article, and the title speaks to itself. The Constitution is sacred. It is also dangerous. One of the biggest threats to American politics might be the country's founding documents, said the author.
And that is a real story in the New York Times, which is a liberal media paper. They said that the Constitution was a danger to the country. I'm telling you, these people are not on your side.
Now, I'm sitting here right now, and I got to tell y'all, I'm Black, and I'm a veteran. I have 6 forms of government ID. 6. I've been Black for my whole life. I've been a veteran since 2000 when I was at West Point. The insinuation that Black and brown people cannot get an ID to vote like every other citizen, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed, is insulting. I actually refer to this as the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Democrat.
We, as all Americans, should want free and fair elections. We aren't making it more difficult for people to get an ID to vote. I have an 18-month-old little boy. Do you know the first thing that he got when he was born that I had to sign for? A birth certificate. So the idea of this costing thousands of dollars and it's all of a sudden onerous and burdensome on Hispanic people and Black people like me is absurd. I have a very large family. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters. Every last Black person that I know in my life, which is quite a few, every last one of them has a government ID. It would be insulting to talk to my family and say to them, you know what, sorry, y'all, you're Black and it's just, so hard for you to get an ID like all the white people. That's absurd. And we as a country have got to reject this farce. I speak so strongly against this because I view myself as an American first. I am a veteran. I am a husband. I am a congressman. I'm someone that served this country. I'm an educated Black man. And somewhere down the line, I am Black and I am proud. And I understand that. But what I never want to do is marginalize a single group in this country by saying that you weren't good enough to get an ID because my 18-month-old has an ID. We as a country have got to clean up our rules to ensure that we have free and fair elections, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed.
Man, look, my man, give it up for him. My man was preaching, okay? His name is Wesley Hunt. All right. And it's crazy, right? Because I hear it all the time. Oh, voter suppression. They want Black people to get IDs. They have them. What are you talking about? Bring them with you. Yeah, bring them. It's crazy because when I looked at my own voter registration this week on in Maryland, it was crazy because it says right at the top, literally at the top, no ID needed. So anybody can walk in there as meet, okay? Because there's no ID needed. All they gotta do is know my address and how to spell my name. And they can walk right in there. Like, it's crazy to me. But we don't want to say something because everything else is racist. But these liberals telling you that you're too poor, you're too dumb, you don't know how to get an ID. Yeah, you don't know what you're doing. And so it's voter suppression. And also that we should allow illegals, hey, they might get an ID. They might, they might get on the voter roll. I mean, it's not enough. I mean, this is Texas. This is where all of them at. They're coming right across the border. Are you telling me it's not enough to swing an election? These people are playing with you. They're playing with us, okay? Because we're all Americans. They're playing with us. I keep telling you this is un-American. But we're gonna move forward. We're gonna keep going. All right. So we're gonna move on to our next one. Let's go here. Here we go. Still under illegal immigration, but immigrants in Alabama. Okay. Everybody's been talking about what is that? Springfield, Ohio, right? Everybody's always talking about it. Everybody's talking about it because of the comments from Trump's debate, right? Everybody's talking about Springfield. And regardless of where you stand on it, because I got a lot that I could say on it, and I already have, and what I fact checked and all this other stuff, but I digress on that. This is happening all over America, right? And they're trying to make it out to be a racist thing, and it's not, okay? Part of my family is from Cuba, okay? So I'm very versed on immigration and how all of that works, all right? Now, the Haitian immigrants were allowed temporary status, right? Which means the government legally allowed them to come here, even though it's illegal. They gave them temporary because they can't do it permanently because that's illegal. So they gave them temporary status. The problem is that temporary status, I assure you, does not have a sunset clause. All right. And that's how they're being sneaky about it. And not only that, right? They don't send these people, who are, and mind you, what Haiti has going on is actually something to seek asylum from, right? However, we already have an illegal immigration problem. And now all of a sudden, you bring in another group. It's not just up in the air. It's by design. Okay. You bring in this other group. You already have a voting bloc that's fighting back against you. And I do mean your foundational Black Americans, okay? Your Latino groups that are already here, right? So you have these voting blocs who, if they're not already Republican, they're leaning because they see through the liberal, not even liberal, Democrats' and how they operate. When they need you, they speak to you a little bit. When they don't need you, you're ignored. Okay? And so these groups are actually starting to lean another way. So illegal immigration right now, regardless of what they're telling you, is being used to change the demographics, right? They are being used as another voting block to come in. And they're going to do it on Black people, poor people, okay? We all know there's more white people in this country, so more of them tend to be poor, all right? Black people and poor people. They're putting these groups on. They sneak them into these little small towns that nobody's ever heard of. This town I'm getting ready to bring up, nobody's ever heard of this town. I don't even know where it is. I mean, I've never been to Alabama, okay? And you overwhelm the population there, okay? Alabama is one of the poorest states. Alabama and Mississippi. I know that. And you're overwhelming that state already. And you're giving all the resources that you don't even give to people that are there. You don't give to veterans. You don't give to women. You know, they talk all of this stuff. That Black people there are poor. Poor. But you dump Haitian migrants on top of it and give them temporary status and let them go to the welfare office and let them live where they want to live. And then when the townspeople, just like in Ohio, start complaining, this is what happens. Let's check it out.
I have a couple of questions about the legal immigrants that we have come to our city. I would like to know how they were vetted, and I've got a couple of questions about that. How they were vetted. Was everyone vetted? Where were they located? It's said that they have work visas, but the work visas show that the company that they work for is not it's not a factory that we have here.
So again, it's illegal, but they're putting it under the guise that they're giving them temporary status under Biden-Harris administration, and they're giving them work visas on the companies that aren't even registered. Like, this is crazy.
So, you know, that's one of my concerns. Who is heading up, watching over this situation? What information can you give me about this situation? I'm just concerned.
So unfortunately, Sharon, we don't have any information to provide to you. We don't have any information. We just don't have any information on.
I pay your salary, and I come up to you very nicely. That woman isn't calling the people out of their name. She's not even saying that they're doing anything. They could be or could not, but she's just asking the question, like, where they come from? They just showed up here, like they everywhere. Like what? Like what's happening? And we don't have no information. And with the nastiest tone, like we don't have no information. I just don't. Whatever. It's crazy. But you want to know something? I feel bad, but I almost don't feel bad because this is what you vote for. These are Democrats, okay? These are not Republicans. These are Democrats right here. This is Alabama. These are Democrats. This is what you voted for. Voting has consequences.
That's so, and I don't want to speak on something and misinform people, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. But as of right now, we don't have any information. We just know that they are here with you.
And the only thing I can add to that concern, yours and a lot of people's, is that, you know, this is above us. We found out when everybody found out that they.
If y'all remember that viral, that boy that went viral, it's above me now. That's what they're saying. It's above me now. This is above us. Yeah, they're essentially saying that you might want to check the feds. The federal government is sending these people. We don't know nothing. We don't know. We just told to take it. That's essentially what's happening, right? these Democrats here, by the bigger Democrats, by the big wigs, are being like, yeah, take these people in your town and don't say nothing, don't ask no questions, don't ask no questions. And y'all ain't getting no money.
Showed up the first time I saw them. They came to our church and wanted to come to Sunday school and church with us, and that's the first time I knew they were in town. And there was 3, then 6, and 8, and they're the ones at church with me are great people. They want to come into church, haven't asked for a thing, and worship and go home. That's the only interaction I've had with them. And I know there's more than that here in town, but the only things we know is they're here. We can't, that they're, I wouldn't say a private citizen, but they're coming in just as you would go into another town and buy a house and live there. They're doing the same thing. We can't ask them or
Oh, no. They're not people just coming in for somewhere else and they're just buying a house. And no, they're not. They're being flown in. They're from Haiti. That's an island. Okay. I'm from Cuba. My family's from Cuba. That's an island. You got to fly here. Okay. You from the Dominican Republic. You got to fly here. You from Puerto Rico. You got to fly here. Hell, you're from Europe. You got to fly here. So stop with they're just next door. No, they were not. And you owe it to the people that put you here to tell them what's going on. But they're not. 1, because they don't want to. But 2, they don't have nothing for you. The big wigs up in DC where I'm at, they'll tell you to your face. It's none of your business. Like we already said what we said. And you just heard the New York Times say that Constitution is in the way. Baby, it's in the way. Okay. So they're going to do what they want to. This is unconstitutional. You're going to use their tax dollars for people that are not American. They don't even have a pathway to being citizens. They're just here and they're eating up the resources. And I don't get no answer.
Or watch them like a specific criminal or anything if they haven't committed a criminal act. So we know they're here. We hope that they can provide to our economy and do things that help Silicaca. But as far as knowing how they got here or what their deal is, we're left out of the loop just as you. That goes way high up. And if you haven't noticed, even some of our state representatives have reached out to their DC representatives, like
Didn't I tell you?
And asking for help and reasoning of why they're here, so that they don't even know at the state level.
But there's no reason for us to wonder why or to investigate. No crime has been committed. I mean,
there's no reason for us to wonder why. You're going to use city resources. These people are allowed to get resources from the city, and they do not pay taxes.
They're here working, like Ashley said, they're, adding to the economy. So as of right now, that's really all we have to say. Is actually more than what I thought we had to say. But
I have one thing. I have reached out to state and federal leaders to try to get more information. And everybody's kind of in the same boat. I've also reached out to other leaders across the state to see, to seek information as well.
And my question is, if they're being busted and they're brought in here by VANCE, how come the city knows nothing about it?
We don't know anything about that this season. That's just, we've seen this stuff on Facebook and social media just like you have. We have no knowledge.
So you hear the similarities. This is Alabama, and if you watch the Springfield, Ohio City Commission meeting, right, where the black man, because they like to make this racial, the black man said that they're being bussed in. They're being bussed in. How do you as a city not know this? I'm telling you, I'm on one today. Just doesn't make any sense. How do you as a city not know this? And to say what people actually see in a city, like I live in a small town. You can't tell me I don't notice something. You can't tell me that. I know my little small town like the back of my hand. And I notice when something changed, a store, a front, a plot of land, trust me, everybody here notices it. Okay? When you build something, you know. This is a small little city. You telling me these people don't know? You're gaslighting them.
Why haven't you reached out to find out?
Ms. Deason, with all due respect, I'm gonna ask this, and with all due respect, has anybody seen anybody being busted here? Has anybody seen any bus coming here dropping people off?
I have someone that told me that.
I know, but it's hearsay. But that's the thing. People are posting stuff on social media and people are saying things that they don't know anything about. Yeah. Nobody has seen any of those things happen.
I realize
yes.
that.
No crime has been committed. There has been no reason
But I also
gaslighting.
where they're living, some of them. And they're just sitting around outside, they're not working.
But what's wrong with that though, Ms. Deason? What's wrong with
Because it's loitering. You literally arrest American citizens every day for loitering. Sitting around. Everybody knows when you're in a town and you have people sitting outside your establishment, your home, businesses. Nobody likes people hanging outside their business. Because usually when there are people hanging outside, white, black, or whatever, they watching. They're drunks, they're addicts. Like, you want an environment that you can flourish in, whether you're poor or not. So to tell them what's wrong with somebody just sitting around and not working, what do you mean what's wrong with it? I'm telling you. You could not make me the mayor of a town of child. Oh my goodness.
Put them sitting outside where they're paying rent.
In the middle of the day, they would be working if they came here.
But we can go anywhere, Ms. Deason, and see people sitting on their porch not working.
Just gaslighting. Like, this lady is just getting gaslit.
The attitude of the council with reference to this is entirely unacceptable. Do we know where the individuals we're discussing are coming from? Where their point of origin is? Because you're treating them like lawful U.S. citizens, which they are not.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut it off because we've had 3 people to come. I'm gonna cut it off because we have no reason. Again, we have no reason to launch an investigation or to treat people differently because of how they look. There's no reason.
Who said that?
Well, that's just what I'm saying. I just said that. TV just said that.
Okay,
so
I didn't say that.
But I said it. But there's no reason for us to discuss this any further.
These individuals came from Haiti.
Or valid concerns that we need to
How are valid concerns, Laura? People come here all the time.
These people came here from Haiti. Haiti is a failed state. Their president was assassinated in 2021. There is no way the State Department can vet these individuals.
We're done, and I'm gonna access him off. Please let him talk. You had to shut up. I was very specific. Okay, I'm gonna ask all of you to leave because this meeting is over.
All right, so y'all just saw that. Like, wow, they really told American citizens. I'm ending this. Y'all asking too many questions, and when one of the councils tries to stick up and say, "Hey, they have valid concerns." Okay, these people vetted? Like, where did they come from? They just came out of nowhere. Right? Nobody knows who they are. Are they part of, like, we all watched well, if you're informed in the what happened in Haiti, there's a guy named Barbecue. I swear to goodness, guy named Barbecue, and he's running Haiti, or at least the last time I checked. Right? So you don't know if these people are from, gangs or anything, right? Yes, America has their own problems. Why do you need more? So yes, I would like to know if they are vetted. Like, what is wrong with wanting to protect your family? Like, especially when I'm paying you. Child, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. She would, nah, couldn't be me. So I wanted to show all of that, to show that there are so many things in just, immigration that's going on under the radar, outside the mainstream media. It's going on, and they're not going to tell you about it. But I digress. So jdvance decides to go on Dana Bash's show. I don't know why anybody would decide to go on. I digress. Decided to go on Dana Bash's show on CNN. Okay. Dana Bash, for the life of me, gets on my nerves. And it's because when she had an interview with Kamala Harris, she sat back like this. Kamala, whatever her little word salad was or stumbling and mumbling, was allowed to talk, which she should be, right? If you ask that woman a question, she should be allowed to talk, right? Whether you agree with it or not. She just sat back like this. Okay, cool. Well, JD comes on, and the disrespect is at 100. Regardless of what you think, the disrespect is at 100. I don't know why opposition politicians, as they call them, keep going on these shows. I don't know why conservatives go on the show. I don't know why conservatives go on CNN anyway. That they're not there to report the news. Mainstream media has not been reporting the news for a very long time. I can assure you. They haven't been reporting the news. However, we're going to get into J.D. Vance's experience over the weekend with Dana Bash as it pertains to illegal immigration.
Here with me now is Republican Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance, who represents Ohio in the U.S. Senate. Thank you for being here, sir. So the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, Rob Rue, said, quote, all these federal politicians that have negatively spun our city, they need to know they're hurting our city. And it was their words that did it. Before Donald Trump talked about eating dogs and cats on a debate stage, it was you, Senator, who first elevated this baseless rumor. These are your constituents. So why are you putting them at risk by continuing to spread claims about Haitian immigrants, despite officials in your state saying that there's no evidence and pleading for you to stop?
Well, Dana, first of all, what's putting the residents of Springfield at risk, which was a town completely ignored by the American media until Donald Trump and I started surfacing some of these concerns, is that they can't afford housing. They can't afford health care. The schools have been overwhelmed. The hospitals have been overwhelmed. And they're overwhelmed because Kamala Harris allowed 20,000 Haitian migrants to get dropped into a small Ohio town of about 40,000 people, and it's completely overwhelmed the services. Now, you ask, why have I talked about some of the things that I've been talking about? Let me just say this. My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things.
Now, it is a problem with Dana Bash and CNN to have an elected official bring forth. Now, mind you, JD did not say any of these things on national television. He brought them up while he was at work, which is his job. He's the senator. He's supposed to. Okay? And he's saying what's been happening. Well, he said this in August. Did you see CNN there? You didn't. You know why you didn't see CNN there? Because it doesn't fit their agenda. He said the same thing that Donald Trump said at a debate at his job. CNN didn't care about it because they could not capitalize off of it. That's why they didn't say anything. You didn't hear nothing about this until this debate. When I tell you the media is full of it, they're full of it. But he's supposed to bring every concern. And the thing about it is, just like with the town in Alabama, nobody listens to things. If people are saying, hey, this is happening, yes, you ought to go down there and look into it. Because that's what I pay you to do. But, a city official said they don't see it. City officials lie all the time. I live in D.C. This man lie all the time. All the time. We just had Trayon White, who was a city council member in DC. Big story, bribery. Oh, none of this stuff is happening, and then boom, FBI on him. Like, stop gaslighting us. If I tell you something is happening, you get down here or you state it in front of the rest of Congress. Like, what's happening?
So I have two options, Dana. I can ignore them, which is what the American media has done for years to this community, or I can actually talk about what people are telling me. And of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed. For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media, that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening. So my attitude is listen to my constituents. Sometimes they're going to say things that people don't like, but they're saying things that people don't like because their town has been overwhelmed, and it's my job to try to fight for them and to protect them. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering. That's what I'm focused on, Dana.
Senator, I have to go through several things that you just said. First of all, the Clark County Sheriff and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reviewed 11 months of 911 calls. They only identified 2 instances of people.
I don't care if it was 1. If somebody called, you go and you look it up.
People alleging Haitians were taking geese out of parks. They found 0 evidence to substantiate those claims.
Meanwhile, they were just at City Hall, the black guy. Talk about he got his kids there, and they just be taking them out the park and cutting and chopping the geese head off. That's not about right. That's not about right. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, this is crazy. You act like other countries and other cultures don't do stuff differently. We eat cow here in America. There are countries that are in the East that don't slaughter cows and look at us like we're crazy. There are different cultures. This is a culture clash. That's what this is. But you put it on a small town where people have never seen this type of stuff go on, so they're calling and reporting it. You go down there and you figure it out, but you don't hide it. But that's what they're doing, just like the town in Alabama that I just showed.
Also, other evidence that you have talked about, even you've retweeted alleged evidence, are unsourced social media videos from a different city, apparently no connection to Haitians. And this is from a conservative activist who offered a $5,000 reward for such things. And then going just backly to the schools and the hospitals and so forth being overwhelmed, nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio needs help.
Why do they need help, Dana Bash? Why do they need help? Because they're being overrun with the Haitians that they're complaining about. It's overwhelming on the small population. If my hospitals are flooded because all these people, who's paying for it? They don't have no insurance. And speaking of insurance, they're down there crashing cars. And I mean crashing them bad because they don't know how to drive. How are they getting driver's license? And we're back to voters and another voting block. Because best believe they will be voting. They have ID.
But you're not just a bystander. You're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said, but I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What
after
we
that,
said,
they were.
When I tell you, this would irritate the hell out of me. It would irritate the hell out of me. Like, let me answer the question. Like, let me answer the question. But they don't. They don't let the man answer the question because they don't want him discussing any of these topics. Like, where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? This is okay. Okay, because we've talked about now Oregon and in their DMV voter registry. We talked about voter suppression, right? With non-citizens, right? Where they're just being allowed to go get IDs. And some of them don't even have to have IDs. They can just go up in there and say, I live at such and such and such. Well, then come on and vote. And it's okay that they're on the voter rolls. How is this happening? And then you have J.D. Vance, who's actually listening to his constituents, right? Wrong, right, or indifferent. He's listening to his constituents, saying, hey, you might want to come check this stuff out because these people just showed up here. What is that? I have never heard of temporary status on mainstream media for Haitians. And y'all know y'all have it. So who snuck and did this? Who did this? According to Kamala, she did. This is what she said. So all of these towns that are being overwhelmed, they're overwhelmed because Kamala allowed it to happen. And that's a fact. So I'm going to say this, just to wrap up the immigration portion. It's un-American. Illegal immigration is un-American. Everyone that is allowed to come over here everyone is welcome. But it's not fair to other people who are waiting, who are trying to do stuff the right way, for them to just be led over the border. And it's okay. It's totally okay. Because the left is using it as political gain. And we're going to keep seeing this. We're definitely going to keep seeing this. So we're going to move on to our next topic of what's un-American, because it's so much. I can't even fit it all in the show. Okay. We got at the most 2 hours, but it's so much that I could say that I don't, because we'd be here all day, but I digress. So I wanted to continue to talk about, again, what's un-American. Well, the media is completely out of control. All right. And they want to control the vote and the narrative to the point they're even going after the third party candidates. Okay. And when I tell you they're going after them with their surrogates who are out of control and out of line, I mean, completely out of line, they're, by any means necessary, they are going to try to win this election. Okay. When I tell you that it sounds like China all over, I swear to goodness, it sounds like China, because China used to, of course, not be a one-party system. And we're well on our way. Okay. They don't like the Constitution. They already said it, that the Constitution is dangerous. And they're silencing everybody. Okay. From a black man, Dr. Cornel West, who the Democratic Party had kicked off. I mean, they sued states to get this man off. Okay. They did that with RFK. And now they've sent their attack dogs to go and attack Jill Stein. Okay. So here is the Young Turks discussing what happened with Jill Stein on The Breakfast Club.
Dr. Stein, in 2002, you ran for governor of Massachusetts and you lost. In 2004, you ran for state representative in Massachusetts and you lost. In 2006, you ran for secretary of the Commonwealth. You also lost. In 2010, you ran for governor again, this time against the first black governor in Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. You lost. This is not DNC talking points. This is my research. And sadly for you, the research says you have never won an election. One thing that AOC has done that you haven't is win some elections.
Yowza. That was Angela Rye of The Breakfast.
Now, that was just, a quick snapshot. But and the reason why I chose that really quick is because the Breakfast Club, they like to, put a lot of copyright restrictions on stuff. So I wanted to give it a quick snapshot. But Angela Rye got upset at what Jill Stein's clapback to AOC was when AOC talked about her. Jill Stein did not bring up AOC. AOC brought up Jill Stein, okay, on a live.
Club with tough words, or as she would describe, just the facts. That's the electoral record for Jill Stein right there. And, that's a lot when you put it in a short period of time like that. So Jill Stein probably not going to enjoy that presentation of material. But understand that the question of Jill Stein's strategy, what races she's run in over the last decade or so, has gotten a lot more attention over the last week because Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was asked a question about that and responded to it on Instagram. So she was asked by a user, how do I tell my friends who are Jill Stein voters they are wasting their time and effort, which is a provocative question, admittedly, but this is what AOC had to say.
What I have a problem with is the fact that if you are running for president, you're the de facto leader of your party. I've been on record that about my criticisms of a two-party system. So this is not about that. But you are the leader of your party. And if you run for years and years and years and years and years in a row, and your party has not grown, and you don't add city council seats, and you don't add down ballot candidates, and you don't add state electeds, that's bad leadership. To me, it does not read as authentic. It reads as predatory. What does this person do to grow power?
So she's not buying it. And that's some of the harshest criticism that you likely heard of Jill Stein coming from AOC, who's taken a very different path. And that was alluded to by Angela Rye on The Breakfast Club. But we want to be fair and give Jill Stein a chance to respond. Here's what she had to say following that video by AOC.
I just wanted to thank AOC Pelosi so very much for her very authentic concern about growing green power. Clearly, AOC is the attack dog du jour, and the Democrats are running scared, and they should be, because who wants to support a genocide? AOC, who's supposed to be in leadership of the Democratic Party, it's amazing if she doesn't know about the anti-democratic tactics and strategies that the Democratic Party uses to crush and silence political opposition.
Okay, so a bit of a fact check, unless I'm wrong, I don't believe that AOC is part of the leadership of the Democratic Party. And I think that AOC, having successfully primaried one of the most powerful Democrats in Joe Crowley, I think that she does understand the way Democrats do things. She's seen what the Democratic Party and AIPAC have done to a number of other members of the squad. That just doesn't mean that she comes out of that experience believing that Jill Stein's particular political strategy is the right one. And so we've got some more that we can get to, but I'm curious what you think about this feud.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back.
Okay. So here's the thing, and they're going to come back and talk about it. But so AOC decided to say that it was predatory for a third party candidate to actually keep running, right? And it's so funny that she calls something predatory when a third party candidate has to run against the Democrats and Republicans who accept PAC money, who accept money from corporations, who accept illegal funding, which, okay. You have all of these factors. They only take money from the people, which is how it's supposed to go. And when you actually get into it, the Democrat Party does use their money to silence third-party candidates. Dr. Cornel West, that was running for president, talked about it. He said, it's not the Republicans that's silencing me, that's suing states to get me off the ballot. It is the Democrats. They're doing this. So AOC knows this. And she's not saying that she is a leader. She's saying that she's under the leadership, which she is. And they do send out younger ones to go at third-party candidates, to go at Republican candidates. That is a fact.
where she was like, you ran against the first black governor of Massachusetts. Why? Was no one supposed to run against him because he's the first black governor?
Exactly.
And then she pointed out that Jill Stein ran against Obama. Yeah, he was the president at the time. And now against Harris, she's the Democratic nominee. Like, you don't need to make it racial. Jill Stein's not racist. That's crazy.
But Angela Rye always does.
Okay, so, but on the other hand, did she lose all those elections? Yes, she lost all those elections. And has she built power over in those 4-year periods between losing the presidential ones, to AOC's point? Unfortunately, they haven't. They've stalled. And so my main issue with the third party runs, the Green Party, et cetera, is, and I've said this a billion times, guys, if you get it up to 20, 30 points, you're in the ballgame. Shoot, if you even got it to 10 points, and I know they're gonna do what they did to RFK Jr. and be totally unfair to you, et cetera, right? And you could say, hey, you could hate RFK Jr., but the brother got up to 12 points in a general election. That gets you into a debate, et cetera. The Green Party's never gotten there. So, I like a lot of their policies. I want them, but if you're not building power and you're not getting to a point where you give us a reason to be able to support you, to push it further, and at the end, you're always at 2 points, and then you say, all right, now give me the 2 points in a super close election. I don't love that. And that's why I always give people an opportunity. We've interviewed Jill Stein many times, even when mainstream media reporters yell at us for it. I'm like, wait, I thought you guys were reporters. What do you care, right?
We did a town hall for her.
Yeah, we did a town hall for her. Yeah. I interview every third party candidate. I give them every opportunity in the world. Andrew Yang got one of his first interviews here on this show, on and on it goes. But at some point, you got to push past your 2.5 points. Now, having said that, now let me turn to AOC. Predatory, that's a weird word. Why is that predatory? What a weird word to use in that context. Were you predatory when you ran against Joe Crowley? I just don't get it. It's very off-putting, to put it like that. And then she says, well, look, of course I agree with a two-party criticism of the two-party system. This is not about that. No, I think this is about that.
Exactly.
And no, I'm not that familiar with your criticism of the two-party system.
That's why I said lies. AOC is lying.
Says, oh, I was on the Working Families Party ballot and I liked Democratic Socialists, though they've had a falling out now because of Israel-Palestine issues, et cetera. Yeah, but you were in New York. The Working Families Party has a ballot line in New York, is very powerful or powerful enough in New York, et cetera. So no, you're now, the part that Jill Stein's right about is AOC is serving the role of the attack dog. So she's the one that goes out there and has the assignment of make sure you attack the third party people and drive them out of the race. She's been doing that now for a couple of months. And so the establishment, the leadership gives you that role. So she's not in leadership, John is right, but she's obviously working with leadership and her role is attack anyone that might look like you, because not is in terms of appearance, but in terms of progressive, et cetera, because we need a progressive to attack other progressives.
Like, you can't make this stuff up. Oh my God. Yeah, you can't make it up, okay? So when it comes down to it, AOC is being used to drive the third party, quote unquote, progressive or, more progressive people who don't take corporate PAC money and all this other stuff. And aren't in bed with the military industrial complex. She's attacking them. Okay. And Angela Rye is, a little attack, a little subset of it, and has to make everything racial. This has nothing to do. So what? I'm running against the first black governor. Please. Please. Oh, you ran against the first black governor. Please. So what? He's black. What's your point? I shouldn't run against him because he's black? Child, these people are ridiculous. But let's get into another media surrogate that's spiraling out of. Okay, so here you have Micca. Okay, her name is Micca, unfortunately. But here you have Micca on the panel of The Morning Joe, and Anna from the Young Turks is going to talk about it. And you'll see how the media pundits and surrogates are spiraling out of control when it, comes to this election in Kamala.
Actually is not objective at all. It ends up playing to Donald Trump's advantage.
every day. In an effort to appear balanced, to appear objective, mistakes are absolutely being made, and standards are being applied to both candidates here when Donald Trump is a different animal. He is an insurrectionist.
Well, the crew over at Morning Joe on MSNBC, the same crew that wanted Biden to continue running in this presidential race, despite the fact that he was suffering from clear cognitive decline. Yeah, those people, they're furious that journalists would have the audacity of ever reporting anything negative on the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris, because Trump he's a special threat. And so since they've decided that Trump is a very special threat, well, then journalists should hide information about Kamala Harris from you, so you don't vote for Trump and definitely vote for Kamala Harris. In other words, they want the media to manipulate you and do the exact opposite of journalism.
Control the narrative, control the vote. This is what I'm talking about.
Don't believe me? Well, why don't we hear co-host Mike Barnicle make his case?
But there's a false equivalency going on in the coverage of this race, in that Donald Trump can say whatever crazy things he wants to say about submarines and sharks and electric batteries, whatever he wants to say. And it's not really covered in the sense that it's covered describing who said it, why he said it, and who the man is, Trump, out of his mind. And always in that story, in the equivalency, the false equivalency by too many reporters and too many American newspapers, there's also, by the way, Kamala Harris changed her mind on fracking. They always throw in something like that in coverage of the story. It's ridiculous. We don't cover the man for how dangerous he is.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to
we're going to fast forward here. I think that's their little plug. Here we go.
Trump being a danger to this country. It is incessant. It is all they talk about on MSNBC. Did he just suggest that journalists shouldn't report on Kamala Harris changing her mind on fracking? Is that not an important policy that voters should be informed about? And also, is he under the impression that telling Americans the truth about where Kamala Harris stands on the issues automatically means that Donald Trump is going to win the election? This is when I started my career, when I started working at TYT back in 2007, there really wasn't like left-wing media. There was like Fox News, and the right-wing media infrastructure was kind of being built. And I prided myself and the left wing on the fact that we didn't try to manipulate audiences, and we didn't try to lie to people or cover up the truth about our preferred candidates or preferred politicians. We didn't want to stoop low and do what the right wing was doing with their misinformation, with the fact that they would omit incredibly relevant, important parts of the story in order to make Republicans look good and Democrats look bad. And now we're in this awful era of conditioning audiences and readers to expect journalists to cheerlead like partisan hacks for one candidate or the other. And if you don't do it, if you don't engage in it, they get mad at you. You're supposed to be my cheerleader.
Anna, did you say that? Girl, I'm glad you're not black or Latino. It's even worse.
You're supposed to cheerlead for my preferred candidate. What are you doing? How dare you talk about Kamala Harris and how she went from being against fracking to now saying she's totally in favor of fracking? How dare you?
How dare me?
The media doesn't fearmonger about Trump enough?
All day, every day.
Has he considered that maybe, just maybe, the media had been fearmongering about Trump so much, so often, that Americans have become desensitized to it? Has he considered that?
And they also haven't considered that Americans are tired of it. So there you have it, Anna from the Young Turks, okay? And I appreciate Anna being honest, okay? Because she is liberal, as the day is long. She's liberal, but she's telling the truth. When I started paying attention to politics, this wasn't the case of all this. We're for this candidate. It's overwhelmingly the left-wing media not only lies, but they omit. Remember, CNN just, and that brings me to something really quick that I want to show you guys really, really, really quick. So I wanted to show y'all this. This article came out over the weekend from CNN. Okay. So you can see it says Saturday, September 14th, right? At about 3 o'clock. It's like 2:57. That's 3 o'clock, whatever. Right? All right. The headline is fact check. Harris campaign social media account has repeatedly deceived with misleading edits and captions. Huh? This is not front and center on CNN, but boom. Here it is. You can't make this stuff up. So, okay. What does the article say, right? They put all this in the article. I guess Kamala's campaign handle on X is Kamala HQ. Okay, cool. What does it say? It says that Kamala's campaign literally goes and puts things together that are inaccurate at every point, at every turn. All right. And here's the whole article: misleading, describing a Trump comment about his supporters. Right. It says the Harris campaign was explicit about its intention in the version of a post it made on Instagram. And it says Donald Trump is lost and confused. Right. And then it goes on to tell why it was misleading and the clips that they put together. And you guys can go read this yourselves. But I just wanted to show you that the media knows that it's happening to the point where they even reported on it, but not where everybody can see it. They can't do that. But they got to report on it. So they buried it over the weekend on their website. Yeah, here it is. Here's another one. Deceptively clipping and misleading, describing a Trump comment about immigration, right? Deceptively clipping and misleading and describing a Trump comment about his 2017 Charlottesville remarks when he said find people on both sides, and he didn't say that, right? Deceptively clipping and inaccurately quoting JD.Vance on a quote about veterans and healthcare. Let's keep going. That's and there he is. Okay. Deceptively clipping and falsely describing a Trump quote about penalties for damaging monuments. This is CNN. Okay. Deceptively clipping and misleading, describing a Trump comment about taxes. Oh my God. Here we go. Cutting out critical words from a VANCE comment about unions. Falsely describing a comment from a Trump ally. And yeah. So I bring all that up to show you that the media is out of control. Like, they're out of control. They're doing what they want to do. They're doing what they want to do. And what I'm noticing that is, a lot of the people who are Kamala supporters, they're going with it because they like Kamala. But what they're not understanding is freedom of speech and all these other things we're talking about works two ways. It protects the speech you like and you don't like. Okay? The democracy thing that they like so much. The election process protects the candidate you didn't vote for and the candidate that you voted for. Because Kamala Harris was inserted. She was selected for you. She got no votes. She got no funding. Okay? All they did was transfer Joe Biden's money to Kamala. to where Democrats were like, oh, whoa, I did not vote for this lady. Why are we not having a primary? They took it, the party took it amongst themselves to say, we're not having a primary. We're just going to go with her. That is not a democratic process. They literally skipped the people because they knew if they put other people in, if Tulsi was still an option, we'd be voting for Tulsi. That is crazy. So you're okay with it, right? Because you like this candidate. Well, what happens when another party does it? Oh my God, I can't believe they just stuck him in there. Oh my God, he was not elected, and neither was Kamala. She was not elected to be the representative for the Democratic Party. She's in office now. She did a primary then. She didn't have one now. This has never happened in the history of American voting. You set dangerous precedences when you allow stuff to happen. Just like with the Patriot Act, just like with Smith-Mundt, just like with Glass-Steagall. I can go on and on. Just like with immigration right now. And just like with the media, it goes unchecked. They're out of control, but they want to control the vote and the narrative. And it's starting to become so crazy. But I digress. We're going to move on to the next thing. So last point on media, I want to get into Hillary Clinton. Okay. And some of the remarks she had to say about Donald Trump and their debate and whatever.
Kamala Harris. Between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump brought back memories of her own duels with the man. It wasn't hard to keep your cool.
It was hard because I had to be responding on the debate stage, but then I had to be thinking, now, do I respond to that? He's trying to bait you.
Everything's broken about it, everything.
You know, it's like that old saying, if you wrestle with a pig in the mud, only the pig comes out happy. I see this as a relay race. You know, you can go way back into the 19th century and the early suffragists.
Inside the Museum of the City of New York, where our interview took place, is an exhibit dedicated to a woman.
The fact that they bring up Shirley Chisholm is insulting. If y'all haven't seen that movie on Netflix, please go watch it. Shirley Chisholm, when she was running, the Democratic Party did not want to support her at all. Okay? They did not. To the point where she was even like, where are the white women? Where are the white women when they were asking me to support their feminist movement and this and that and the third? Where are the white women? Why are they not here for me? The fact that they continue to use this woman with Hillary and Kamala is a slap in the face to black women. I swear to goodness, because this woman right here, who is a Jamaican descendant, okay, this woman really campaigned and she went out there and she fought. The Democratic Party didn't back her at all. But go and watch the movie. It'll show you.
Woman who helped pave the way for women like Hillary Clinton.
My presence before you now symbolizes a new era in American political history.
Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman elected to Congress, was also the first woman to run for the Democratic presidential nomination, 36 years before Clinton.
I stand on the shoulders and have passed on the baton to the next generation, just as Shirley did. And so when I see this exhibit about her, I think she did her part. She really did.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Clinton was asked to do her part in August when she took the stage at the Democratic National Convention.
It was a hard speech to write. It was a hard speech to deliver. I had to read it through like 7 or 8 times because I got teary. Together, we put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling. I had a big responsibility that I understood that only I could fulfill. Let's send Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the White House.
Hillary Clinton says she was there this time to officially pass the torch to Kamala Harris.
That was sort of the unspoken through line that.
So Hillary Clinton, okay, if you don't know, went up against Trump in 2016, but it didn't bode well for her. And I find it so funny because Hillary Clinton talks all of this stuff and she cheated. She literally cheated during the debate along with her bestie old pal, Donna Brazile. If y'all don't remember, I got you. Here's a flashback.
Analyst Donna Brazile admitting that she, in fact, did send town hall debate topics to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign while she worked for CNN. That happened a year ago. She's now saying she will, quote, forever regret it in a column in Time magazine. It took more than a year for Donna Brazile to admit this. CNN ended up cutting ties with Donna Brazile while she was serving as the interim head of the DNC. Tammy, why a year later?
You know, it's fascinating because she's still kind of mincing the words here. She said sending debate topics over when the issue was sending direct questions over to her.
So y'all hear that? When Hillary Clinton was going up against Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton got the topics and the questions. So this is not the first time. Donald Trump is not lying. The mainstream media is in cahoots with each other. CNN, ABC, MSNBC, I don't know, Pitt, CBS, whatever. He's not lying. Right? And this has happened before. So there you go. And Donna Brazile had to come out and admit it because you guys remember when Hillary's what do you call it? When her emails got leaked, this got leaked, and she had to come out and admit it. And then CNN was like, we don't know, we don't know what happened, we don't want no part. Yeah, y'all know, just like you know now. So since we're on that topic, okay, since we're on the topic of ABC and CNN, you know, and debates. Let's go ahead and get into the next un-American thing, because that with Donna Brazile was un-American. The same thing happened. Okay. They're alleging the same thing, just like they alleged last time, and then it came out it was true. So we're gonna call it allege because they're in the process right now. Okay. But a whistleblower, okay, that worked for ABC, okay, the media is trying to spin it just like they tried to spin it with Donna Brazile, you know, and it ended up being true. A whistleblower has come out with ABC and said that Kamala Harris indeed got the questions. Kamala Harris indeed was given everything that was going to go on during the ABC debate. Okay, so we're going to talk about this topic really quick, and I'm going to let you know what's going on with it. So here we go. So really quick, let's get into this affidavit.
After observing and watching the sham that debate was on ABC between Kamala and Trump, where it was essentially 3 against 1. It was a complete disaster. They fact-checked Donald Trump over a dozen times. You want to know how many times they fact-checked Kamala Harris? You see my hand right here? Big goose egg, 0. So if you watch that debate, if you happen to see my video, the reaction of it, we went live to when it was actually broadcast on the to read your comments on this. So it starts with, this was dated the day before the debates took place there, September 9th, 2024. There's a lot of parts that are blacked out, I guess, for privacy concerns. But if you look at line 2, I have worked for ABC News for over 10 years in various technical and administrative positions. Since the acquisition of ABC News in 1996, by the way, this isn't long, it's only a couple pages long, I've observed significant transformations in the nature of news reporting at the organization. Yeah, no crap. I mean, that seems pretty straight up to me. These changes suggest a shift from unbiased reporting to a model influenced by external factors. So far, so good. I'm 100% on board with this. Everybody has noticed that. Everybody can vouch for that. ABC is probably at the forefront of the fake woke mafia media news. The intent of this affidavit is to address concerns regarding perceived biases within news reporting within my employer's debate that will be hosted on September 10th, 2024. But to this.
All right. So on that part right there, right, you see that this affidavit went in before the debate even happened. So the person in question actually has, obtained a lawyer and all of this stuff. And so what you're seeing is just some of the information to the affidavit. Well, it is the affidavit, but it's redacted with the black so people don't dox. Okay. People, yeah, y'all know y'all dox people. Y'all dox people that don't even do this much. So he goes on to show you what is actually in question and what he claims was going to go on at the debate. And remember, this is before the debate even happens.
The second page, observations on debate communication. Since the debate of President Trump and Vice President Harris had been announced to the broadcast on ABC, various members of staff have expressed hope of a debate where issues that were important to everyday Americans would be discussed, and there have been promises made that the candidates would be held to firm discussions regarding their proposed policy stances, and that the debate would not deteriorate into an ad campaign, whereas both candidates would simply make blanket statements without specific policy or explanation as to, and then that portion is blacked out. And then the second point here, political position clarification. Many employees of ABC who were looking for a fair and honest debate questioned the clear biased that is well known throughout the company. No argument here. It is common knowledge that debate moderators, as well as chief executive officers of my employer, are well known not to support Donald Trump.
So, and then as we go on, you see it says political position clarification. You see concerns regarding journalistic integrity, and I just wanted to show you, just a few things here. You see this affirmation of documentation. This affidavit has been signed, notarized September 9th, blah, 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 right? And it's just going on and on to show you that this is what this person here is alleging, and that they're willing to show. And it goes on further in the documents that they also have recordings, okay? So I'll be watching that to, see how that turns out. But I just wanted to go into that because it's already happened before. All this, oh my God, this is a conspiracy. No, it happened before. Okay. It happened with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has already been in this position before. He's already seen it. Right. And everybody said it did. Oh, he's just saying stuff. He's just saying stuff. And then boom. That's why I showed you the news about Donna Brazile, right? Because of course that was the 2016 election. This has happened before. They do cheat. So my last point, and the most important thing that happened over the weekend, is Donald Trump's second assassination attempt. When I tell you the failure of the government is at an all-time high, the failure of the government is at an all-time high. This has never happened to a president. He's not the sitting president, but he's a president. Okay? Barack Obama, when he goes golfing, because he goes golfing a lot, when he goes golfing, he has all the Secret Service agents in the world. They check this, they check that, they checking in your purses, they checking under the cars. And the detail that Trump gets might as well just be like, I don't know, more security. Like, if y'all can't see what's going on and how un-American this is, Okay, because it doesn't matter if somebody's Republican, Democrat, Independent. If these are the rules, these are the rules. Why doesn't Donald Trump have the same detail as Barack Obama? Why doesn't he have the same detail as George Bush? And why does he have the same as Joe Biden? Hell, Joe Biden's on the beach. He's not even doing nothing presidential. He's not even doing it. Trust me. He's on the beach. And he has a bigger detail than Trump, who's currently running for president again. If y'all can't see the bias in it, y'all are biased, okay? But I'm gonna get into that. So let's go ahead and get into that before we end here. All right, so let's start here. Facts. Like look at that. Look at where he was. Right? So he was allowed to actually scope this out. Like, why is this allowed where the president is? This is crazy. Has never happened to any, excuse me, any other president. Yes, assassination attempts, but twice? Come on. See? So if we go by Dana Bash, who said that JD, by him saying that bringing up the cats and dogs were causing the bomb threats that are happening now at the schools and the hospitals, if that is causing, okay, if that is causing bomb threats by him bringing up cats and dogs, then the Democrats are definitely causing lone men to go out and shoot at the former president and the current presidential candidate. You can't say one is exclusive and the other is not. Because they're constantly saying it, like this man just said, Nancy Pelosi and the media surrogates are saying that they're terrorists, they're a threat to democracy. They're the real threat. Like I said before, she didn't get any vote and they put her there. That's a threat to democracy. They're just putting people there that you don't even vote for, that you didn't want. You didn't want Kamala Harris because she got 1% of the vote when she ran in 2020. You didn't want Kamala Harris. Y'all don't like her. Y'all just don't like Trump. And that's fine. But don't allow them to take away your process. Don't allow them to just stick people there without asking you. And by asking you, that means you get to vote in the primary of who you want if Joe Biden is going to drop out. So here's the thing. The guy has stated why he's done what he's done what he did and why he does what he does. Okay? And he's a Democrat. He's a Democratic donor. Like he gives money to the party. Okay? And he he has things going on with Ukraine. Go figure. Right? So I'm gonna get into that for a little bit, and then we're gonna come back and wrap everything up. Here we go. Mm. Yet Barack Obama has a detail that makes sure everything is surrounded. Go watch the video of Barack Obama golfing in Martha's Vineyard. All right. So here's the thing with all of this, right? Trump is, again, yes, he's not the sitting president, but he is a presidential candidate. If you see Kamala's, yes, she's the sitting vice president. However, she is a presidential candidate. Like I don't understand how this is allowed to happen over and over and over again. Here we go. One last thing.
What a complete joke, Liz Peek. I mean, give me a break. They're over there on MSNBC having an entire conversation about toning down the rhetoric of Trump. He just had 2 assassination attempts on his life as they're calling him Hitler and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's really despicable. They're blaming Trump effectively for an attempt on Trump's life, Maria. It doesn't get stupider than that or more vile.
Yeah, and I just want to point out this. According to the Secret Service, the golf course yesterday was not fully secured because, quote, Trump is not a sitting president. Oh, really? Let's take a look at the kind of security President Obama has. Since he's no longer a sitting president, we've got pictures here of President Obama's golf course in Martha's Vineyard. Secret Service inspects every vehicle when they even drive near the course, Cheryl. So what's the answer? He's not a sitting president, yet the golf course that he's on is incredibly secure.
All of these questions should be answered because remember, in the fiscal 2025 budget that has been proposed, there is a budget increase again for the Secret Service. And I think that this all goes up to the top, and that is Secretary Mayorkas, Maria. That's who needs to be answering these questions right now.
Bingo. Great point. Let's take a short break.
All right. So you just saw that, and it kind of went into what I was just saying about, even though he's not a sitting president, he's still a president of the United States. Okay. So it takes me into last call. All right. We've been here almost 2 hours now. And that's because I told you guys I was on one because all of this stuff is so un-American. It's un-American. Oh my gosh, it's un-American. My last call is my thoughts. Okay. And here we are. Everything that's happening is a result of the mainstream media and its pundits and its surrogates, the Democratic left, and how it chooses to go about this election. It's been getting worse and worse and worse. And this is the worst that I've seen it. This will be my third time. Yeah, my third time voting in an election. Okay. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this happen. 2 attempts on a president in his life. Okay. The president, no matter how you feel about the president, is your president. JFK, when he decided to actually work for the people, what happens? Assassination. Okay? Because if you don't know what JFK was deciding to do, he was deciding to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Okay. All that income tax, all of that. He was getting rid of all of that. He was going back to having money backed by resources. Okay. Silver, gold, all of that. Okay. Because the United States has not been backed by gold since the 30s. And that's a fact. This is fiat currency, meaning nothing. We're not backed by anything. We don't use, remember, Joe Biden killed the XL pipeline. We're not using natural resources. So what is the American dollar backed by? Nothing. So when you look at everything, it shows the stuff that Trump talks about is dangerous to the deep state. Oh, it's dangerous. Overhaul on the federal government oversight, like looking into how much they spend, how much they waste, how much they give away of our money. This is not their money. This is our money. How much they give away. People are like, oh, it can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen. What do you mean it can't happen? You need to ask for it. But you don't ask for it because you don't even know. Most of y'all are sitting here talking about, well, Kamala's going to give, a tax credit of $6,000. Sir, ma'am, you could have way more than that. My degree is in accounting. Okay? I could be an accountant if I wanted to. When I tell you guys that you don't even do the bare minimum on your taxes, you don't. And the government isn't going to tell you that. They owe so many people money, it's not even funny. And where's that money sitting? That money is sitting at the Federal Reserve collecting interest. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. It's not part of the government. The IRS is a private entity. It's not part of the government. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. But that is a threat to their type of democracy because they are used to controlling the masses with these taxes. That's how they control us. These taxes are how they control us. And the way we are allowing them to continue this is crazy. Like, it's crazy to me. But if we allow it, everything will be the same. Everything I brought up today, illegal immigration, the media and their narrative, the whistleblower, the second assassination attempt of President Trump, it are all things that we, the people, are allowing. And if we keep allowing it, it's going to get worse. And if you think just because your candidate goes and gets away with it, let's say she wins and she gets away with it all, what about the next time when it's a candidate that you don't like? They're just going to go, well, we did that last time, so it's perfectly okay. I don't know why you guys are complaining. That's what's going to happen. I may not be in alignment with the political views of liberals, but I still support their right to actually vote for their elected official. Okay. Alabama, the people wanting to talk, they can't even talk. They can't even say what's going on. Ohio, in Oregon, they're putting people on the voter registry that are not citizens. People are just coming over here. They're taking advantage of all of the resources that we can't even take advantage of. Try having a job and being on welfare and see what you get. But they can go get work visas and get welfare and get all this other stuff. They can get housing and all these other things. New York is in a deficit. Chicago, $1 billion deficit. All for illegal immigrants. But you can't go into a deficit for American citizens. You can't give them housing. You can't give veterans who need housing. You can't give them that, but you can give it to illegal immigrants. When I tell you they don't care, they don't care. It's all about the election results. And with that, I digress. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. As always, ways to give, ways to support is officially Micca, $ officially Micca, Cash App. Okay. Thank you all for watching. I definitely appreciate it. This has been my time. I was on one today. It's all un-American. but we're going to get through it. I'm out.